Welcome to another episode of the River Run Podcast. I am your host, Adam Pross, and I welcome you. Episode 18, we are here. What is shaking? What is going on? I hope everyone is getting out there, having some fun. Get out on the water, go fishing, do what makes you happy, paddle, hit the shore, wade, whatnot. We need some rain up in Ontario. I think most of us are probably going through that phase right now where the water levels are a bit low. So at the same time, I hope it does rain and I can get back on, because last week when I was on the river, I noticed it was rather low. And but it's kind of cool to see, because those are the times when you get to pick apart those rivers or lakes, whatever it is, wherever you fish. There's things that you might want to take note about. But yeah, no. One thing I wanted to chat about was the Do More utility cup holder. This thing is sweet. I got it in last week. I went and picked it up. It is awesome. Like pliers, line color, and just about anything you need to hang off this thing, whether it's, another mount or some fishing lure that you don't want to end up in the bottom of your kayak to be stepped on. This is the one. It's cool. I'm looking forward to getting it on. I know where it's gonna go, right on my bites. So yeah, no, it's super cool. I did want to give a shout out though to a brother over in Washington State who has once again done it on the Washington Kayak Bass Fishing Series. His name is Trey A. Potts. He is a fellow Jackson Kayak member, and he has gone and done it again with a big W and a first place win. So he was my guest last week. So Trey, if you're listening, dude, congratulations. That's really awesome. I don't know if you guys heard about up in Ontario right now. We are getting into something called the Paddle Sport Get Together. The River Run Podcast was a sponsor of the actual Paddle Sport Get Together meetup, which is a total charity run for Array of Good Hope. Bring all your non-perishables to it. Go out fish. Didn't really work out with the weather, but Peter Young and his crew have put together what's known as the Paddle Sport Get Together Throwdown. This throwdown is presented to you by the Canadian Tackle Store. It is got a 30 participant limit. You got some really awesome sponsors who are stepping it up. Everybody from Amped Outdoors, Lose, iAngler, Angler's Choice, Striker is going to be, and it's at the Lauderdale Point Marina, Sparrow Lake, I believe it is. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And you know what? You may say the registration fee is definitely high, but for what you're walking away with prior to it, like with your custom hoodie, trucker hat with the lanyard and whatnot, plus your parking's paid for, it actually works out pretty good. So and like they got some pretty big prizes, like over, I believe it's almost $4,000 in first place, like over 1,200 for second, and third biggest bass, you name it, it's all there. So yeah, no, if you're looking to go out there October 19th, you know where to get signed up. Go check out Paddle Sport Get Together. They're on Facebook, they are on Instagram. Check them out, hit them up with a like and a link, a follow. And yeah, if you're interested, October 24th, I will tell you this though, if it starts to really heat up and it looks pretty good, it is probably going to fill up pretty fast. So also, I just want to give a little shout out to Drew Gregory and the Kayak Adventure Series for this awesome hat. Dude, thank you. I'm really digging it. It is super comfortable. I really like this little string they got there. I feel like a captain with it. So I will be rocking this out there. I'm hoping maybe next year I can plan out a better time to actually get down. I was hoping to get to the one on the Susky, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But I will be there next year at one. So yeah, no, like, and don't forget, if you want to purchase a Dubro Fishing Do More utility cup holder, boom, that's right. You know where to find them, Dubro Fishing. So Dubro Fishing offers what? Well, they offer you a awesome 10% discount on your next order. Check them out, dubrofishing.com. Dubro Fishing offers a River Run Podcast listener promo code, which save 10% at checkout. Yeah, use it. The code is all capitals RRUN 10. Save 10%. Thanks again to Brian Schiller and all the guys over at Dubro for hooking up the River Run Podcast and for the Do More utility cup holder. Yeah, no, really awesome. Thanks again. And this brings us to my guests tonight. My guests tonight are two gentlemen off of the Catch podcast. They were actually they had their start with Paddle and Fin, so this is always fun. You would have, if you would have listened to that, you would have known that would have been the final catch, which is still a show on now. It's Monday nights, but they've moved on. They started their own podcast called the Catch Podcast. They are also, in my opinion, some awesome Ohio anglers who also love fishing the river for smallies. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to the show the following: Brad Hicks, Matt Sowders.
What's up?
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. And you guys are doing well. We're all in the same time zone, which is that's awesome. And Matt's got his actual Kayak Adventure Series hat on too.
Yep.
So this is fun. But yeah, no, super pumped to have you guys here. You guys did me a solid and had me and Thomas Pletchny on the Catch podcast about a year ago, and then you had me back on again after my podcast had opened. So yeah, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves to the folks that may not know who you are.
Yeah, that was a fun show, by the way, when we had you and Thomas on, and then you came back on again. So
yeah, you guys have to get Thomas on another one there. He's like just absolutely crushing it up here.
Yeah.
Well, down there, dude. Like but yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves. And
all right, I'll go first. My name is Brad Hicks. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Fish for smallmouth like 99% of the time. I actually hate largemouth. I want to tie them to a tree and just throw them on the bank.
Oh my god!
Oh
wow. But yeah, I've been in a kayak since like 2014. Just been fishing ever since, mostly the river. So
no, that's cool. That's cool. And Matt, go ahead.
My name is Matt Sowders. I'm from the same area Richard Hicks is from. I also chase smallmouth like 97% of the time because I don't mind getting a little greenfish bite in every couple months. I've been kayak fishing since 2020. 2020. Yeah, man. I just love fishing.
Yeah, well, don't honestly that's how this all started. You know what I mean? Like this is where it all begins, and it's always fun to talk fishing when you're not fishing, and when you're not on the water, you're probably looking at some sort of lure or some technique or whatever not that you got to go out there and cast. So I want to ask you, Brad, do you eat the largemouth at least, or do you just leave them on the tree for all the guys down in Ohio?
I give them to all the little tweakers under the bridge. Like, here you go, man.
Yeah, I literally was thinking the other day. Do you guys remember? Brad doesn't because he's like never seen a movie in his whole life. But do you remember? It was that movie where it was like the dude was back in like the 1800s and he made a time machine and it actually went forward in time and the big bad monsters
Back
were
to
like
the Future.
no,
Oh,
the big bad monsters. I can't remember what it was called, but they were like monsters that came out of the ground. Those monsters that come out of the ground, those are the crackheads underneath our bridges. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, dude, you like really never see them during the day, but at night, it's game
They come
on.
out. So is that why you guys never like night fish then? Is it's just more of a safety thing?
no, I just hate. I cannot
Yeah.
stand not seeing where to cast.
Yeah, I hate it.
Or getting your line tangled on a backlash or something. It just happens way more often in the dark. I just rather not.
Okay, well, you know, at the same time, I was okay with it's a safety thing. Like it sounds like the hobos.
Oh
are
no, man!
pretty intense down there.
I run strapped. Me and 19 of my best friends are always in the boat, so I'm not too worried about that.
All right. Now, I did want to say though, you know, that stretch of river that you guys usually fish is the Greater Miami River.
Yeah, Great Miami River.
Great Miami River. And at the same time, there's another reservoir where you fish, correct?
Yep.
Like, yeah. So now, when you first, like, to be honest, like when you first started fishing, did you always hit the river or were you kind of like more hitting the lake? You know what I mean? Like how, like, cause like when I first started, like I didn't necessarily fish rivers. Like I fished a lot of lakes. Like it was kind of, you know, and then where I live now, I was like, oh wow, like yeah, like there's a lot of rivers with one river with a lot of tributaries that I could just, you know, run up and down. So, but yeah, was that like that for you guys?
Like for me, it was mostly growing up. It was always lakes. Like I fished the Mad River, which is right by us. If you've listened to our show, I used to, when I was a kid, a very young one, I was running around Pickle Park before I knew it was Pickle Park, and I would fish the Mad River there. And so I would fish there in the Mad. It goes into I wouldn't even call it a lake, like a 4-foot deep mud hole called Huffman.
Pretty
that
much.
Has largemouth and some smallmouth. Like they don't really go in there a lot, but they do sometimes. So I was catching there, and then it was mostly lakes. And I didn't really start fishing the rivers up here till like actually fish them until like 2020. I would go, you know, that's when I got on the kayak when I got out of the Marine Corps, came back up, and I started fishing the river a lot. But yeah, most of my background was all lakes until then.
Yeah, I was fishing mostly lakes with my dad growing up. He had a boat. And I remember going down to Cave Run in Kentucky and him catching some muskie, and I was in the boat. We went to a bunch like Cedar Creek and all that, Cowan Lake. That's kind of why I don't really like going to those lakes now, because we grew up going to those lakes. And I'm just like, I don't want to go there. There's too many people. The fishing's not great. So I started fishing the river when I moved out. Me and Matt got an apartment. I started fishing the river back in 2012. And it's been like nonstop ever since, just trying to like grow my knowledge year by year on how to catch these bigger fish in the river.
No, like that's a great point that you actually brought up there about like, you know, just like going out there and like how you're strategizing on like how to be a better river angler. You know what I mean? And the only way to really do that is going out and spending time on the water, right? Like that you can read and you know, there's a lot of guys out there, you know, there's forums and whatnot, or groups, sorry, on Facebook or, you know, Instagram. You can see stuff, and you can definitely take a lot of that knowledge and all those old like in fisherman magazines and whatnot, and articles like Ned Cady and even like Travis Myers, and you know, you but like at the end of the day, you got to go out there and figure out how your river, you know, fishes, you know, and that's because like even, you know, you could probably do a lot of the similar, you know, if you were to come fish up here to me going down there, you know what I mean? But there's just different times of the year, you know, and different pressure too, right? Where for me up here, a lot of my river fishing ends, you know, after 4 months, where you guys really hardcore, you know, you go you go year round, out there in with the dry suits on and whatnot, which is like I would love to be able to do that. So no,
it took me about 7 years to finally like figure out the pieces of the river until I finally got comfortable where I started catching consistently good fish. And I remember the first year it happened is like 2019, and I started consistently catching like 18s and 19s that year. And it, slowly putting the puzzle together, and then after that, the year after that, I caught my first 20. The year after that, I caught 5 more 20s. And then it's just been ever since, you're catching 1 or 2 20s a year now. So it's cool.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's the same thing. Like starting, like I lucked out just because when I started my river like fishing and really focusing on it, I had Brad with me, who already had like 8 years of experience of putting the puzzle together. So I was picking it up a lot faster just because he would show me things while we're going out and be like, oh, yeah, this is why you throw in here. It's different from a lake because of this and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I picked it up super fast, mostly because he was there. But yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It takes some time I think it took me, but I caught my first 20 last year. So 3 years on the river. And then I caught one 6 months later. And then I think I caught one at the beginning of this year, but I didn't have my catch board. So I don't know, but it was big. Like it just, like he said, the more time you spend, the more time you fish, the easier and faster it takes to learn, or you learn it faster. And the plus is, while we were up at I know we're going to get into it a little bit later, but when we were at the Wisconsin KAS event, Jeff Little had said, whenever you go to a new river, find somewhere what's the word I'm looking for, Brad?
Similar.
That one. Find somewhere that is similar on that river body of water you're fishing to what you fish at home, and you typically will find this, maybe not the same success, but success that can start building a pattern. So once you learn your rivers, it takes a while, but you can take that knowledge everywhere with you and just, not go to a place and just suck.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to take advice from anybody, Jeff Little is,
yeah,
he's a wealth of knowledge, and he's got, endless hours on the rivers, and at the same time documents this all, walks you through it, and right there, that's great. But that actually, it's a great point that you actually look for something that does look similar to where your home is, because usually, one, you're probably a little more comfortable out there. You're not going to be, you're already going to have a sense of what you're looking for. And, you're going to have, just judging, let's say if you've already pre-rigged or you're going to tie right at the launch, you got an idea of what you might think would work,
Yeah.
And that there, that's a great tip in itself. But no, like I think just the experience of being a river angler and going out there, you can float as long as you want, and you can learn so much by when the water's low, photographic memory right there. Like I was out last week, and I'll be honest with you, like I probably had the best day I had all year, all season, just because I was out there, and it was like a 30 fish day. Like it was just awesome. Like, it was day. And I'm not going to say they were all giants, because they weren't, but just the way it worked out, I didn't expect that. Like I went in there like, this is I always have a plan, that these are the rods they're going to bring. I've gotten past the whole point of, bringing as much tackle as I need. It's, a couple planos, my 2 planos, and my third one, which holds all my hooks, but a couple of soft plastics, like, and man, it was great. And even when I got out to this new stretch, like and the water is low, and you could actually see like the amount of boulders and just structure down below that was just now coming up through, and it was just like, you had, let's say, had I not gone that day, I don't think I would have seen that, and I probably would have gone past it because I don't also bring electronics with me. I would have gone past it, you know what I mean? And you probably wouldn't have seen it in Google, like Google Earth, you know? So, yeah, no, it was a good time. It was a good time. But like you guys had a pretty awesome time there at the Kayak Adventure Series.
We did. Yeah, I was going to bring up the very first day that we actually fished on the Wisconsin River. Nothing like what we fish at home.
Zero.
Like, we had bluff walls. It was like 4 to 6 foot of water right up against those bluff walls, and there was sand everywhere. I did not see a single rock. Matt did, but I didn't.
Yeah, I saw like one. It wasn't even like a field. It was like maybe it wasn't
like a cobblestone driveway kind of with like the sand like flush with it.
Pretty much. Like it was really odd because normally when I would see that, like that whole first day we were fishing fronts and backs of like islands, which the trees like grew on top of the sand, which was weird. It had a bunch. It was weird, and it had a bunch of like riprap on the fronts of them. We were catching fish at like I would say quote unquote the points of the islands and the fronts and the backs, and all the like the island mouths where the water would pass through. I caught fish in all those spots, but it was nothing. Like literally, it looked anything like the GMR. Nothing was comparable except for the bridge abundant. That was it. It's the only thing that looked the same because it's a bridge. Like we didn't catch any fish at this bridge like we do here. So it was 100% different. Oh yeah, me too.
Like when I seen the pictures and the videos you guys posted, I think it was after your day one, Brad, you posted a couple pictures there, and like just the scenery alone on that river, man. Wow. Like
it is so not cool. What you expect Wisconsin to look like. I was not expecting it.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. At one point I was like, is he in Australia right now? Because that's the exact thing. I was like, that's Australia. Like, it's not in Wisconsin. And wow, like that's but like it's a completely sand bottom. Like there's no rock. Like, and you're like, you could see like visibility wise, you could see all the way to the bottom, or like, was it still pretty murky? Or
it was, I mean, I would say what, 2 foot maybe.
Oh, the water was clear, but like the sand made it look like you could not see the bottom at all. You know what I mean? Because it made the water look darker than it actually was.
Yeah, it was clean for sure, like way cleaner than what our river is, but you still couldn't see like the bottom. But I know at one point I was going, but it was between 2 islands. Brad was ahead of me. And from one front of one island or the back of one island to the back of another island was literally all grass. I could just see it tickling the surface, and I could see about 2 foot down. And I was throwing jackhammers. So I was like, well, I'm just going to fish this like a pond by our house because it has grass. So I throw a jackhammer and it gets stuck, rip it, fish kills it. And I could see little bass, like just like tiny ones just going through it. And I was like, there's something. Threw it in, got a largemouth like immediately. So it was cool, but it was still like I've already said it's weird. Brad said it's weird. It was weird because the water was super clean, but you still like I felt like I should have been able to see the bottom.
Yeah, me too. The whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason I was asking, because like in those pictures, I was like, it's all sands, but like, can you see the bottom? Like, because in the pictures, it doesn't look clear. It looks like, quite murky, but you probably also at the same time with all that the green trees around it too, I'm sure that made it for that slight green tinge that it seems to have in your photos there. But like how far, like just curious, Wisconsin from Ohio, like how far of a drive is that for you guys?
7.5 hours.
So a lot of metal was listened to then, like
the whole time.
Yeah, more. It was always playing in the background.
Like halfway through the trip, I was like, Matt, turn on a Knox Loose playlist.
Yeah, and that was just like the background to our political discussion or hating semi-driver discussion or just hating construction and bumpy roads. It was just always playing in the background. It was great.
So so you got a 7-hour drive and you get there. Now you guys were staying at this pretty impressive like log cabin, like out in.
It was sick.
Like,
dude, it was so sick.
Rustic Ridge log cabins in Merrimack, Wisconsin.
So is that like the north end of Wisconsin or like more the southern side?
Central.
Yeah, it's central. Okay. Yeah.
And so the whole central, I learned this after we went on our trip. I did some research when I got home. The reason why that river's all sandy through that region is because the glaciers covered the top part of the state and pushed the sand plains down into the middle central part of the state. So that's why the whole river's sandy through there.
Brad's also a scientist on his off time, so he's
I was just curious why, because like we said already, it was weird.
Yeah, dude, it was like, I'm happy he said that, because like the speculation was, oh well, it's the farmers pushing stuff into the river because they use their so apparently big cranberries taken over up that way because like Ocean Spray has all their fields there, and they use the rivers to flood their fields. And then when it comes back out, apparently that did this. So that was the speculation. And then because that's like one of the only parts of the river that it's like that. And then when we got back, I was made a big cranberry joke about Ocean Spray. And Brad's like, actually, it's because the glaciers pushed all the sand down from the north of the state. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, I didn't know that. And it makes more sense because
it does.
The next 2 days we went, there was sand, but it wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, it was a lot different.
Now,
it says, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to read what it says here on Google. It says the Wisconsin River is sandy in some areas due to glacier outwash that was deposited in the river valley by meltwater.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Geologist Bradley Hicks, thank you for joining us today.
I just think it's interesting, man.
National Geographic, several books, and
I'm sure I'll research the Barren River after we get off of it next month too. So,
are you guys going to the next one?
Yeah.
So is that one closer or even further?
Oh yeah.
Oh, closer.
4.5.
Technically, to where the awards and stuff will be, it's like 4 hours and 5 minutes. So just 4.5, 4 to 5 hours from us, 288 miles or something.
And that one's the final one, correct?
Yeah.
That's where the Broodmaster will be crowned. And we all know the Broodmaster, it's whoever that is going to be a lucky man.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys take part in the team event, or was it a No.
So
we forgot to set up our team.
Yeah, we forgot to set up. So we were technically we were in the team event. We were in the individual event too. So we go down there, like me and Brad went because me and Brad, we've done tournaments in the past. I would say we're no slouches. I'll at least speak for Brad. I won't speak for myself. So everyone's like, oh man, you're just talking himself up. Brad is no slouch when it comes to tournaments. And I'll say I'm not too terrible, but we don't do them really anymore because we just want to go fish. So we went up there. We were just going to fish and help Drew, like with Bass University brunch and anything he needed, we were going to help. So we get up there, we cook and everything. And Drew was like, oh, you guys have done so much. I'm going to put you guys into the tournament as a thank you. And I was like, oh, no, it's all right. We don't want that. And he was like, nah, I'm going to put you in. And I was like, all right, Drew, I don't have my identifier holder. I almost decided not to bring my catch board, but I was like, well, if I catch a 22 or something, I want to have it. And I was like, all right, well, we're not getting off the water when we're supposed to. He's like, I mean, that's fine. Just nothing will count after that. And I was like, all right. So we go out the first day of the tournament. Neither of us have our identifiers because we forgot a pin like 4 times. It would have been the best day for both of us. And the team event, I forgot we were in the team event.
Yeah,
like I
me
didn't
too.
even. It was after the tournament. I saw when it like the submit fish on Tourney X. I was like, "Oh, Brad, did you submit anything to the team?" He's like, "I forgot," and I was like, "Yeah, buddy, me too." So we'll see what happens at in Kentucky.
Yeah, because the was it the winners of the team event, Josh Franco and Jeff Little.
No.
They were
No.
what, third?
Yep.
Third, yeah, third.
Christina and Jordan West. What was his name?
Okay.
Jordan
Westerman or something?
Westerman, something like that. It's a guy that lives in his van, living the life.
Yeah.
They won the team event.
Living in a van, living the life. That's sick. Just driving around.
He just drives around in a big like Sprinter that has his boat and everything on it in it, and then he just drives around and fishes everywhere around the United States. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
How did he get that gig? When do you put your
I
application in?
I literally told Stacy when I got home, my wife, everyone, Stacy's my wife. I told her when I got home, I was like, babe, if we weren't married and I never met you and I got out of the Marine Corps, which I probably never would have, but if I did, I got out of the Marine Corps, I was like, that would be me. I would have never cut my hair again. And I would just live in a Sprinter van wearing like gym shorts, Crocs, and just find a new place to fish every couple days. And I would just travel and not care. Like, it's sick.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
No, that is well, I think they call that dirt bagging is the term.
Dude, I dirtbag all day long.
You know what I mean?
It's probably called something else here in the States. Probably more offensive than dirt bagging.
It's like it's an actual term though. It's dirt bagging. It's an actual term.
That's hilarious.
You know? But yeah, no. So you do day one, you know, and you're staying in this log cabin. Now, you're staying with the entire crew, or is it just the three of you? Like what?
It was me, Brad, Jake, which is like Drew's right hand, Drew, Josh Wilkins, who's the owner and operator of Source Crate, and
John Dalton.
John Dalton Creek Adventures. So it was us six in the
Okay.
cabin. Yeah, there was only 5 beds. So me and Brad slept on a pull-out couch, just like the old days. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dig any deeper into that part. So
Oh,
yeah, you
see,
don't want to know.
Yeah, I mean that's what stays at Rustic Ridge, stays there. It's never spoken again. But no, believe me, you're not the only one. Everyone else was like, "Are you guys sure?" Me and Brad like, dude, we're just sleeping. Who cares? Like, we're here to fish. It just means we're gonna get up earlier.
Yep.
yeah,
And we didn't.
No, we sure didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, we got up earlier than like probably what people normally do, but like
Oh.
our sleeping in was like 6:30.
Yeah, well, our tournament started at 6, and we didn't even get out there till 9.
Yeah, I didn't care.
That's on the Saturday, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because you can fish the Friday from like 3 to 7 or something.
3
like
to
that?
7. Yeah, it's 3 to 7, which we were on time for that one. I think we launched a little early, but 3 to 7, and then Sunday is 6 to 2. I think lines out or 2 or 3, something like that.
So you went down and experienced the actual like Kayak Adventure Series, like the full show that he brings. I don't want to call it a circus, but like this, entire festival that it has with vendors. It's got quite a few big names in the industry that come through, and like an array of sponsors that he has. What was that like?
It was pretty cool. Getting to meet Jeff Little in person. Like my main reason to go down there was to create content for the whole weekend, and I think we did a pretty good job of that. But we're gonna do better at the next one. But
yeah, I did such a great job. All my content is in the dash of my truck.
Well, I also want to get more content of like the bass brunch. I want to talk to more anglers, and stuff like that. But it was cool meeting Jeff. It was cool meeting some of the guys that fish there, like people that we follow all the time on Instagram, seems like we've known for a while. So
Yeah,
that was
people.
cool.
It was cool people that we follow, but it was even cooler people that follow us that were meeting for the first time. That was pretty dope. Like guys who like to listen to the show and stuff. That was sick. Them coming up and be like, "Oh, I'm so and so on Instagram. I follow the show," and be like, "Oh yeah, man, we know, yeah, blah 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 blah." So it was cool. The community aspect of it, which is what Drew was like really shooting for, was sick.
Yeah, it looks like it has a solid community aspect. Like the amount of like good vibes going on. Everybody's just like having a good time.
Mhm.
You got, people there with their families, it looks like. You got guys who come across the country to come hang out, like I gotta say that's and yeah, so you got the Bass University, the brunch.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to sit down, have breakfast, and then listen to somebody talk fishing. Like it's just like listening to a podcast almost, except you're there live, really.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that like? And like, who spoke at these? Or did you guys speak at it? Or
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't speak at it. The first one was Shrenko, Josh Shrenko, owner of Achigan. He just talked about like 5 tips of tournament fishing, like things to do and stuff like that. And then it was Jeff and Drew talked about like bait selection and stuff. And then Christine Fisher talked about the national side of tournament fishing, which was pretty cool to kind of see the inside of that, like how a national angler explains it. So,
yeah, it like everybody talked for about 15 minutes as well. So it wasn't like some type of long thing. And by the time like the end of the bass brunch was done, you could tell everybody was like antsy to get out there and catch some fish.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, all right, hurry, let's go.
Well, you've heard like some of the best talk. You've taken that and instantly now it's it's probably no different from, if you listen to any podcast, you're listening to it and then you hear some guy talk about some bait or, line, reel, rod, whatever. And then you're just hyper focused on that. And you're like, or I'm going to try that next time I go out. You know what I mean? So
yeah. You know what sucks though about that is like you hear somebody talking about like a big bait or something you've never used, like a DRT, like I'm getting a custom one painted. You go out and you use it and you just have a crappy day and you don't catch anything on it. And you're just like, dang it, I wanted to catch something on that today.
Yeah, that's I tell you, Brad's still new to this, and this has like nothing to do with what you're talking about. But swim bait fishing, man, a new bait comes out. Believe me, I'm on Citizen Drop still now. When a new Citizen Drop goes, I sit like everybody else at 8 a.m. and just start clicking the button so I can get it before people put them on eBay for $400. And then you get it, and then you take it out, and you put a big 10-aught beast hook in it, and you throw 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 it, and you catch nothing. It's like, this was stupid. Like, this is annoying. But then you finally throw it once, and you catch a fish on it, and you're like, this is the best catch of my whole life. Like, it just makes it cool.
Okay, so hold on here, because I feel like we could go down a rabbit hole with this whole swim bait thing.
Oh, yeah.
That is a very slippery slope there, gentlemen. Proceed with caution, one of those. Brad, you started throwing swim baits this year. Or was it well, you threw the trace, wasn't it?
I threw the trace last year. I got into the Chad. I got into, hold on, what was it?
Was it the Chad?
Did I catch my first S waiver fish last year? I think it was.
Yeah, it was last year. So you caught your first, because I got you a trace.
Yeah, I threw that for a while. Caught some fish on it.
Yeah, which the trace is a great, like for everyone out there, the trace is a great get into the swim bait game because it's easy to throw. You just throw it and crank it back. And it's a big bait, so you get the big bait bite, and a lot of stuff hit it. But then you went to an S waiver, and it was a custom S waiver. Pretty sure it came out of one of my quarterly boxes. I don't know if it was a true S waiver, like the actual branded. It might have been. I can't remember.
Oh,
because I thought it was. No, it was a real S waiver because I'm pretty sure I gave it to you because it was in the truck, and I was like, I'm not throwing this. If you want to throw it, you can. And you caught a fish on that, and then you fell down the Chad Shad hole.
Chad Fever.
Yeah, dude, he's had the fever for like going on a year now. That's like that's the only big bait he likes to throw. Like I like to switch him out, but dude, it's kind of hard to switch it out because the Chad just gets bit. So
Dude, it's so fun to work. Like I love just reel bumping that thing. I could do that all day long.
it's sick.
So you like, for instance, the trace though. I have thrown the trace and I've had not a lot of success with it. To be honest, I've had maybe 2 little guys on it, but other than that, I don't. The 6-inch Meg Draft Freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I've been throwing the crap out of that, and that thing gets attention.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I was at a this paddle sport get together 2 weekends ago, and it was windy as all hell. The event was canceled, but they're like, if you want to go out on your own, I was like, well, we got this good window of opportunity. Let's go. And I was like, I'm just gonna throw the crap out of this thing, and I was throwing it. And I remember looking out at 2 other kayakers coming, and then I looked down at my rod like this, and I was like, holy shit. It was like a 40+ inch muskie just right there, dude. I could have touched his head. I just moved that rod, and I was just gonna go right into a figure 8 with it. And he literally just swam with it, and then, no, I don't want it today. And then just like it didn't bolt off or anything. I was like, holy shit. Like, like what? And I remember like the guy I was fishing right beside, I was like, dude, he's like, what? I'm like, muskie over here. And he's just like, I'm like, I don't think he's gonna take it, dude.
Starts to pay like you.
Yeah. So yeah, no, like the S waiver, that's another bait though that you could say, because it comes in like several different sizes. The thing I liked about the trace though, that was the point I was going to bring up, is it comes in a 5-inch size, I believe, and a 6-inch, and then it jumps up, I think, like even bigger. But the 5-inch, it's so easy to throw, and I think it only weighs like an ounce or an ounce and a quarter, so you don't really necessarily need, this super duty rod to throw it on.
Yeah, a stout medium heavy will do it.
Another one that I have, it's a smaller one, was oh man, I got it in a Dark Horse box. When I ordered the Dark Horse Tackle Live Free Die Tough shirt that he came out with, I picked up this small little jointed swim bait, and they had it in this like frostbite color, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And then I got it, and I was like, I don't even want to throw this thing. I just want to leave it on the wall. It looks so nice. Like,
I got one right here like that.
It's like these little ones, and I was like, that's sick.
I'm pretty sure I gave that to Brad. I got that in a quarterly box from Dark Horse, and it's a smallmouth paint.
So cool.
It's beautifully done. I can't remember. It was Dark Corner did that. Yeah, it's a Dark Corner, which he's like the best. He's painting DRT customs for me and Brad. He's like the best painter I've ever seen. Like, there's a lot of really good ones out there, but his stuff's awesome.
Wow, look at that thing.
But I told Brad, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna throw this because our smallmouth, like, I've never seen them really prey upon other smallmouth. Like, I know they're predator, they're cannibalistic, and I know they probably do it.
Yeah.
But I've never really seen, like, I don't really think about throwing that here. So I was like, because I had 2 of them. So I was like, hey, Ren, you can have this one. And he's like, I'm putting it on the wall. I was like, dope. Because it's sick. Like, it looks like a piece of art.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of those like sweet paint jobs. And some of the creativity of like how they create like their like, it's, I feel like there could have like those like art galleries, but it'd be like swim baits on the wall all painted, and you could just have a silent auction on how much you want to pay for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
the highest bidder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like that's the way I see it. Like, it's, those paint jobs are just incredible. And the one that I got, it's a smaller one, and man, like, I was like, I still it is in my tackle box, but yeah, no, it'll definitely be one of those that I don't know will actually get thrown because
Yeah.
I just don't want to lose it. But then goes down the next thing that says, why the heck do you spend money on something that you ain't going to throw? And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm
So-
sure we all have tackle like that, but
Oh yeah. Going back to the trace though, like I haven't caught a ton of fish on it either, but I've caught, like in the fall time is when I've had the best luck with the trace. But we just talked to Matty Wong on our podcast, Bassmaster Elite Series guy from Hawaii, and he was talking about how the profile, like the long, slender profiles of swim baits you want to throw for smallmouth because their mouths are smaller. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Maybe that's why they're not biting the trace as much as they are some of these other baits, like you'd like the mag draft.
so like you can get the mag draft 6-inch freestyle, which is you can rig it yourself. However, I usually just go with the twist hook in, and it's like a 6/0, 6 or 7. I think it's a 6/0.
It's a 6/0. Should be a 7/0's got to get back too far into the tail action, and it's going to stiffen it up a lot.
So yeah, it's a 6/0 Beast Coast or Beast Hook, I think it is. It's like the owner
Beast Hook.
That's it.
Great
and
hook.
Yeah, they are fantastic. But I do have the other one that has the mag draft, which has that treble hook in it.
The harness in it.
Yeah, the harness in it. But I'll be honest with you, I don't I haven't really thrown that one too much because I just like the way that freestyle with that single hook just works its way through, like can work through grass, where I just find with the treble, it just seems to get caught more and you end up like snagging.
Yeah. Definitely the whole reason they brought the freestyle out is because of that. So like, because I used to throw, I'll be honest, I don't throw a ton of soft body swim baits anymore unless it's like a Defiant or a like a Citizen. I'll throw Huddleston's in the winter just because you can really creep and crawl HUDs on the bottom. But like the reason they made those freestyles is so many people were using them as like cover shooters, and that treble would always like it. I mean, they're good treble hooks, so they'd get stuck and they'd get hit. So the reason you run this now, you can make it weedless and you can throw that in whatever you want and just snake it through everything, which is awesome.
The one thing I've noticed since this musky experience is that paying more attention to what might be following it. Now, you can't always see depending on water clarity, but it's kind of like throwing the like Berkeley Chopo or like, any bait that's going to expose. It may not necessarily land the fish, but it's exposing where the fish live. It's exposing, a large follower. It's gaining attention. I feel like these baits, even though you may not necessarily get your hook, like hooking up the ratio to landing may not always be that strong, but just that ability to like, oh, boom, somebody just showed himself, and like, you can, okay, you at least, you got something going on here that you can maybe won't necessarily take the larger presentation, but could expose itself to take a more finesse style presentation or jig, or you know what I mean? Like just
well, yeah, that's a lot of big swim baiters. Like me personally, like I've grown to where I'm way past the stage of, oh, I just want to throw this out and get bit. Like I do, but you throw the big bait out, like you said, fish will expose themselves by following it out. They're like, you just threw something massive, especially with like real big baits. Like Brad's seen me throw 9-inch baits out in the water.
Yeah,
and
the draw.
I must say that I have a big draw from 6 cents, or like even my Defiant, that's a 9.5-inch soft body bait. I'll throw that out and I'll stand up and I'll just slowly crank it, and like you said, you'll watch fish come out. They're like, oh man, this thing is big. What's this doing here? They're not. Yeah. They don't want to attack it, and then they'll immediately 180 go right back to where they're at. So you bring it back, grab a Ned rig, grab a wacky, depending on the fish, a jig, throw right where they are at, a little bit past it, and work it. And that fish is now all amped up because it thinks something in its territory, Now it just slams whatever you threw right in its hole.
Yeah, that's, and I think sometimes when you begin to fish like bigger baits or just a larger presentation, I think we're more focused. It's like, holy crap, I want to catch this giant.
Yeah.
But what we're like, oh, we're not getting bit, and we're just not. It's not. There's no attention, and that you really what you're missing is that, you know, there was gaining attention when you brought it past that log or that boulder, or, you know, did you see that thing come out of that grass to follow it, but then, you know, you kept it moving. It's all of that. So at the same time, like, as this is a paddle and fin podcast, as the River Run Fishing, you guys had a start with paddle and fin, and then you moved on to the Catch podcast. And the Catch podcast is probably one of my favorite podcasts out there. I will be honest when I tell you that. I think you guys have an absolutely fantastic show. You got some great guests. You guys always crack me up at 4:00 in the morning anyways with your craziness. And in which it is the same time zone. So
That's hilarious.
yeah, I won't touch on that anymore.
Oh, you can. I don't care. Tell them.
No, it's okay. We won't.
All right.
That'll be for another time. That'll be for another time. But yeah, no. So like, okay, the Catch. Like, let's just talk about the Catch podcast here. So you're in your second season. Your first season, you had an array of amazing guests, and you also had loads of cool product come through. You guys linked up with Dark Horse, tackles. So yeah, like what else you got going on for, you know, season 2 here? Like you were just saying, you got Matty Wong, like Hawaiian Bassmaster. That's cool.
Yeah, Matt set that one up. I wasn't sure what to expect from that episode, but it turned out to be really cool. He's an awesome guy.
Dude, he's so chill. He's just like, he's a dope dude to talk to. Yeah, dude, that comes out in a couple weeks. Tune into that, because that's a sick episode.
And for everybody that doesn't listen to the Catch podcast, you can check out the Catch podcast on just about any streaming. They also do, this is kind of cool. I wanted to talk about this. They have the Catch podcast TV. Mm-hmm. And Brad's become a very YouTubed guy in there. Like, you've got, you know, all these different videos. Matt's showing up videos too. Like the direction with that, like how's that going?
It's good. That's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Like I did videos when I was on Paddle and Fin a while back. I was making my own videos every now and then, and I was like toying with the idea of wanting to make my own channel since doing that. So when we started the Catch, I was like, what can we do that will drive more traffic to the podcast? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start making videos. Ended up getting me a Osmo Action 4 camera and recording. I struggled with that a little bit too, because like spot burning and stuff. But you know what? I've been doing this for over a year now. I still do not see anybody in those spots where I fish ever. So, it's whatever. People get mad. Screw them. But I don't know, dude. It's kind of like grown into like a creative type of outlet for me. Like, I really enjoy making videos now. It's fun.
No, like you guys have, like, your videos are great. Like, even from the ones that you started with when you were just kind of walking through like Yak Gadget gear, or you talked about your Crescent Shoaly, you know, stuff like that. Like, but now your videos, like, even, well, let's just hold on here. You have one video. I don't know if you did a video of the actual Wisconsin river trip, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we both did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you also have that video of that boat that came up out of nowhere that day.
Yeah.
that had to be a bit of a surprise. That was that like in the morning, or was that like a midday thing, or
It was an evening thing, like
right before
maybe
sunrise.
sunset.
Yeah, sunset. I mean,
Yeah,
probably like
right
20
bef-
minutes.
Yeah, we were coming back. So Brad, we were fishing. We kept fishing, and Brad's like, we probably should get off the water. And I was like, why? And it's because something I said. I had read that the Wisconsin DNR like patrol the river pretty heavily, and if you're on at night, you have to have all your lights. Obviously, my RVR has no lights. Brad Sholey has no lights.
no?
The only light I would have is like what I did at Dale Hollow 2 years ago, and take my phone out and just so people don't kill me on the way. But he's like, yeah, let's start making our way back. So we're like, all right, we'll hit a couple spots. We just hit a spot. We were just kind of burning back. And I was talking to Brad, like you'll see in my video, it makes it like, that's the one thing I hate about video. It makes it look like he's far away.
Yeah.
He was like 100 feet away, if that, before he saw us.
No. Oh, the boat. I thought you were referring to the guy that said that I was 100 feet away from you.
No. You were 10 feet away from me.
Yeah, you can see your boat in my video. So
yeah, you were right on top.
Yeah.
And dude, he just turned that corner. And I remember the video, I was looking at Brad, and I looked forward, and then I looked back, and then I looked forward again. He was right there, and there's a reason why the music in the video is so loud. Yeah, dude, I pooed a little bit because he was right on top of us. It was, dude, it sucked.
Yeah. Like I showed my wife that video. I was like, just watch this boat. And she's watching the video, and then all of a sudden she sees the boat, and she's like, well, that like he's like, they're gonna get like smushed. I was like,
yeah,
that's what could have happened. But you see it, and it's just like I don't like that's could have been a pretty horrible situation. Which I'm glad my homies are good. But yeah, what I don't understand the thought process behind that boat driver, but
people on Matt's TikTok were saying, oh, you should have you always take the right. So
yeah, that makes me so mad, because here's the thing, they're not necessarily wrong. So like with boats and stuff, you treat it just like a highway.
Yeah.
So the river is a highway. So you know, you stay on the right side, which I get. All day, the right and left side of the river, quote unquote, was in the middle of the river, the deeper stuff where it was 10 to 15 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were in 2.5 foot of water. As like we were, like you see in the video, again, the video makes it look like it was a little farther away. The shore was 25 feet away.
Our props were hitting the rocks where we were.
So, and that means he took that corner as tight as he could. Instead of going wide to where you could see everything coming, he just took a blind corner.
Yeah.
Which, like, I understand everyone, you treat it like a highway, but the situations of that day, the highway was in the middle of the road and we were on the bike path, essentially. Think of it that way, like on a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Like the highway's in the middle, we're on a bike path, super shallow water. Stupid. Came around the corner.
Okay. That's like you could if your props were hitting where you where he was, and to me that looked like a regular bass boat, like that wasn't like a jet boat here. Like
I don't know what kind of boat was.
Looked
like a Lund or something, maybe.
It was a Lund. I don't think it was a jet boat. I think because the outboard was a little bit older,
like a deep V.
It wasn't a deep V. It wasn't it was like a hybrid V. So it was that in between walleye boat, bass boat. I'm really surprised he has a lower unit, because where he stopped, like that was my knees were there. So
Did
I'm really
he trim
surprised.
It up?
Maybe when he stopped. I mean, I wasn't really paying. I'll be honest. Like I was waiting for him to say something stupid, and I was just going to get out of my boat and walk over to him and drown him in the water. Like I was furious.
Oh, and it's a fair feeling to have, like that's
Yeah, you just see in my video, I just turn around and start laughing because Matt was the one that almost got hit. I was just like, what in the world just happened?
He turned it and saw us, and I turned right to the shore. I was like, okay, well, there's no way he's going to go more shallow. No, It's like he wanted to beach himself. He could have gone left and been in deep water.
I wish he would have beached himself. That would have been so funny.
I would have laughed. I was, like I said, I was hoping to just hear a kaboof and then watch his lower unit flop off. I would have waved as I motored right by.
So at the end of the day, as we've just learned about the most non-memorable experience at the Kayak Adventure Series, what was one of your highlights of it? Like, honestly, like, was it?
For me, it was catching 3 fish within like 10 minutes of each other on the Chad Shad. That was awesome.
Chad fever.
Well, and then the biggest fish of the weekend. I forgot about that.
I was about to say, talk about that.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
I was very first day we were there. I was fishing the front of an island, and I casted right over on top of this tree. I guess that was sticking out of the water just a little bit, and right when that thing hit the water, this fish hit it, and it took me like 2 seconds to register in my head. Matt was like, I was like, oh crap! Set the hook, started fighting. The thing jumped in the air higher than my head from like, I don't know, 50 feet away, whatever. I was like, holy crap, that was a big one. I ended up pulling it in, and it was like an 18-inch, probably over 4 pounds.
Easy. Yeah, dude, it was a football.
It was massive. So that was probably the highlight for me.
That was the one with the hold on here. I think I pulled it up.
Are you going to screen share it?
I could. Hold on here. Yeah, what about you, Matt?
So 2. One was, it was right before Brad caught that fish. He was in front of me. We were going around an island, had some pretty good current. And let's say it's going to be before the eggs, that big one in the center of the bottom row.
That. Open up here. Come on.
Yeah, Instagram sucks.
Yeah, Instagram does suck. But yeah, if you want to check it out, go to Brad Hicks Fishing. He's got the Chad fever over there. It's like that more cowbell, it's more Chad, you know?
Well, 100%, yeah.
I love it.
No, go ahead.
But you're good. So Brad was in front of me. We were going around this island, and there was a little, it may have been 3.5 foot wide, like a mouth that kind of went through the middle of that island and made 2 like real skinny ones. I threw the jackhammer in there, and I was like, well, it's a mouth, so there's got to be something there. Threw the jackhammer. It was like maybe a 9-foot cast, and right when I started it up, it just got hammered by a 17 3/4. That was, I mean, close to 4 pounds. It was under 4, but it was just a massive fish for the size, which was so cool. And then I had a pretty memorable fight with like a 35-inch pike.
That was cool too.
Yeah, I was throwing a Chapo on the edges of some lilies, and it like missed it the first time. Real violent, big strike. And Brad's like, "That's not a bass." I was like, "Yeah, bud, that's not a bass." And I was like, "Whatever, I'll throw it back." So I threw it back, and he got it on the second try, and it was on. Like, it fought pretty good. Most of the other pike I caught that weekend were limp noodles, but that one fought really good. And yeah, it was a big fish.
That's catching big pike is up here. It's definitely a good time. So
yeah, it is fun.
You know, and they always put on a good fight. And I'll be honest, I always try to shake them off at the boat if I can. I don't really want to have to bring them into the boat, but if I do, like my long
not rockets.
Just all like,
well, that, and they won't stop like death rolling.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. That, and I'll be honest, the scenery, just like where we were fishing, was like one of the highlights of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Those little crevices in the sandstone in the middle of the river. We didn't catch any big fish out of them, but we caught some fish, and it was awesome catching them out of there.
Yeah, dude, I was skipping with my BFS rod. I was skipping a Ned rig like 10 feet back into this crevice and just letting it sit there and just get popped by like a 13 or 14 inch. I think the biggest fish I caught out of there was a 15 3/4 largemouth, which was just cool from where it was at.
Too.
I gotta say that I got to hold a BFS setup. It was a Corrado BFS with a Corrado BFS reel, and
Yeah.
it's the 6.8 model, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It had I think it had like 6-pound fluoro on it. A buddy of mine was picking up a reel, and he's like, "Yo, have you seen my BFS setup?" And I was like, interesting. Never held a BFS setup before. I don't know how. I just don't know how I feel about it yet. Like I'm usually when I go finesse, I stick with spinning because that's just to me what works. But and I don't know. That's just kind of how I've always known it. So he's like, yeah, and I was like, oh my god, like, and he had this little Ned rig on it. No, it wasn't a Ned rig. It was the small river to sea whopper plopper. I'm just thinking the size. The 50, I think it is. The really small,
the real tiny one.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I was like, I could do this. I like this. I was like, slow down, you. Slow down. But yeah, no. In the end, it was pretty neat, and jazz. Like, I can see why people really, really enjoy it. Like, I do enjoy, the medium light with, a Ned rig or like a Nico Leech or something like that, where I could see like just casting this little, and like he's like, I can bomb this thing. It's like, wow, like that's so I don't know, maybe a BFS setup is in the future. I don't know. Brad, you run a BFS setup?
I like spinning gear, so I don't know. There's certain things I like throwing for bait casters, certain things I like for spinning. So finesse swim baits, like I've been throwing finesse swim baits on a casting rod lately, but I still like it better on a spinning rod. I just got more control.
Yeah, I like paddle tails and stuff. I absolutely love on a spinning rod. I've tried it on casting, and it's just not for me. It
feels like you're not reeling anything.
Yeah, it's a weird. I don't know. You can just, I don't know. I can feel the bait better on the casting, on the spinning better than I can feel it on the casting. And I noticed too, like, there's been times when I've been reeling it in on the casting, and then I'm like, oh shit, I have a fish on. You know what I mean? Where on the spinning, it's like, okay, got it. Like and I'm not using like an extra fast rod or anything. You know what I mean? Like, so, but no, guys, I did want to say thank you to the both of you for coming on the River Run podcast. And if you haven't had the chance, everybody out there, go check out the Catch podcast down in Dayton, Ohio. These guys are on Instagram. They are on YouTube. Go check them out. They got loads of stuff. And if you're into river fishing or just catching smallmouth, these guys absolutely love doing that. They got lots of great content to back it. Brad is a photographer on the side, it looks like, and offers geological studies of Wisconsin and why the rivers are so.
I know more about Wisconsin than I do Ohio now.
Well, you're learning something.
It's not much to know about Ohio, to be honest, other than most of our river is comprised of heroin needles. So,
yep.
Well, you guys, at the same time, you have the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah.
You mean the Bears?
Oh, sorry, the Browns. The Browns.
Yeah, we have
Browns. Yeah,
we have the Browns. I was going to say the Bears are in Chicago, big dog.
I apologize for that one if I've offended any of the Cleveland, Ohio Brown fans by saying the Bears are there. No, yeah, I don't know why I said that, but there's a lot of. I'm sure there's some good stuff. But if you guys want to let them know where you can find you on the socials and whatnot, go ahead.
Brad. Brad Hicks Fishing on Instagram. I'm on TikTok too. Facebook, I'm kind of selective with who I add. So Yeah, if I don't really know you, I don't really add you just because people, when I used to add everybody and then they went overboard with political posts 24/7. So I was like, you know what? Deleting everybody down to like 400 people.
Yeah. So for me, it's obviously Catch TV on YouTube. Me and Brad both post on there. Matt Sowders Fishing on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm starting the TikTok thing. Like I do it sporadically. I'm going to start doing it a little bit more.
Is it you on TikTok now? Or, like, is it actually you?
I have a burner still.
Okay, just check.
Yeah, the burner is for when I want to call people stupid, but I don't want to ruin the podcast. But yeah, so Matt Sowders Fishing on pretty much all major platforms. Same thing with Facebook. I mean, I'm not as selective, mostly because I know where the mute button is. So if you say something dumb, I'm just never going to see you post anything ever again. So, but yeah, man, just follow me on Instagram. Facebook is just there to be there. So I talked to my mom and my grandma on Facebook. Actually, I talked to my mom on Instagram, but I talked to my grandma on Facebook. So like that's the only reason I still have it.
I like it. I really like Instagram. Instagram
Me
is
too.
I really like it. I have nothing, and it's not that I don't like not like Facebook. Like Facebook is Facebook, but no, I just I don't know. Instagram is like, you know, it captures short little blurb, and it's like it's good to go. You know, you can just like it, you know, or you can comment, or you can just keep scrolling, you know. So
yep.
But yeah, no. Brad, are you getting a jet boat, or was that like a real thing? I'm just curious.
I would like to get one.
Okay, because I'd seen that on Facebook, and I was like, oh wow, like
yeah, I want to run over some kayakers too. That sounds fun.
Hey, as long as I'm on the boat, let's go.
There I am. Do. Hey guys.
Yeah. That would just surprise you on the GMR.
Yeah.
Like me and Matt are in kayaks, but like our show doesn't revolve just around kayaks. You know, we talk to bass boat guys and stuff too. So
no, that's in you know what, it's fishing. Fishing is fishing, right? So just because you fish out a kayak, you know, or a boat, at the end of the day, you're all out there for the same fish, and you're all out there, you know, chasing a bent rod. So no, guys, like I said, my guest tonight, Brad Hicks, Matt Sowders from the Catch Podcast. Thank you very much for both coming on down the River Run podcast. This has been a really fun show with you guys. No, and it for me, it's always great chatting with you guys. You guys are good friends to me, and you're always supportive with the podcast, and you know what, I appreciate you both. At the same time, don't forget, you can also check out the Catch Podcast, and you can also check out the River Run Podcast. The River Run Podcast is on Facebook, the River Run Podcast page. It is there. Go check it out. It's on Instagram. You can check out the River Run Podcast also on the River Run Podcast TV on YouTube. Also, Paddle and Finn has shows every night. Go check them out from Monday to Saturday. There's a show on for you, and Google, Apple, Spotify, you know where to find this. Thank you for stopping by the River Run Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Pross, and we say till next time, have a good one.